folks. We've got a lot of sound bites that we're going to play today. Over the course of the last week, we've done interviews. We've been doing mostly motorsports live down here Monday through Friday. We've got all kinds of sound bites. And what a week it's been of treacherous activity out on the racetrack. I'm telling you, folks, I've never seen a curb or a cushion, whatever you want to call it, as big and as gnarly as what we've had here this week down at the Chili Bowl. It has been unbelievable. It's been bitten many of drivers this week, and we're going to talk about quite a few of them. We've got sound today from Justin Grant, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Zeb Weiss, Tanner Carrick, Buddy Kofoid, Rico Abreu, and Christopher Bell that we're going to play today during the show. Kirk, how you doing, my friend? You doing all right?
Doing great, man. Here we are, final day. It's Chili Bowl Saturday.
Right. Well, you know what's funny is, Kirk, you and I talked about it. We were actually considering going home yesterday, tearing down our gear, getting back to the studio, but we figured, you know what? We have been down here for the last 21 years, and we've done our Saturday morning show down here for the last 21 years. Let's make it 22, and that's what we've done today. We've chose to stay down here today and do our final. This will be the final appearance for Kirk Elliott and I down here at the Chili Bowl. I don't know if you've heard, but Kirk Elliott will be retiring in September, moving back to Iowa. What am I going to do without him? I don't know. It's going to be a struggle, but we're going to work at it. And Kirk, this is your final Chili Bowl. You'll probably come back down here as a fan at some point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite events, of course. We'll be back. You can't just cut off the Chili Bowl forever. As long as I'm still able, I'll try to get down here.
Yeah. But it's been a good week of action here at the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals, Kirk. What do you think so far?
Man, what a show last night. How about Justin Grant and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. going at it?
Well, I thought for a second there. Now, tell me what happened to Justin Grant there when he came down to the start-finish line. It looked like he lost power, but he thought he'd already taken the checkered. Is that correct?
That's it.
Yeah.
He admitted that. He said, and we've got an interview. I got about a 4-minute interview we did with Justin last night. We'll play here in just a minute or two. But he said, yeah, I'm embarrassed. I thought the checkered flag had already waved.
Right.
So, I didn't know if they lost power in the car or what happened to that
I think he just got out of the gas thinking the race was over.
That's it.
Yeah.
So he's a good guy. He's honest.
Yeah.
He was upfront about it. And, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the night, it really didn't matter because he was holding the Driller Trophy as the Friday night winner and enhances his status as king of Friday night here at the Chili Bowl.
Right. Seems like every driver has been the king of their night so far this week. Right?
All these drivers run on their specific nights. Rico Abreu on Wednesday, Christopher Bell on Thursday, Kyle Larson on Tuesday. But Kyle didn't win on Tuesday.
Right.
Buddy
Kofoid did. Yeah.
And Justin Grant on Friday night. So here we go. And we got these pole shuffle races coming up later on this afternoon. We'll see how everybody lines up in the A-Main. But we got 10 drivers that have already qualified for tonight's feature event.
Kirk, let's play that Justin Grant interview right now. This is afterwards. They did the press conference. Kirk Elliott did a one-on-one with Justin Grant immediately after the press conference, and this is his conversation with Justin Grant.
Boy, you've been the king of Friday nights, but this certainly was not easy to get through. You had a very eventful night.
Yeah, this was probably the toughest one we've had. That was that got a little closer than we wanted it to at the end, and we had to kind of bang elbows there with Ricky and kind of dogfight that thing out to the end.
Just kind of talk about, the heat race. You finished third in the heat race, and then you came through, and looks like you were going to win easily the qualifier. What happened there at the end?
I thought the white was a checkered, and so I lifted down the backstretch, and that was that. That was a big mistake on my part, and I thought it was over.
As it turned out, it didn't really matter. You win the feature event. Just kind of talk about that battle with Ricky, and looked like he had the lead, then the yellow came in.
Yeah. Ricky had gotten me there, and the yellow came out and gave it back to us, and that changed the whole race. I think Ricky was going to be really, really tough to beat, but fortunately, tonight the cards kind of fell in our favor, and once I saw the lane down there, then I knew I needed to be there, and that was that.
Yeah, what were you thinking there, getting ready for the restart after what happened?
Yeah, just knew I needed to make sure and hit the bottom and not miss the bottom. I knew he was real good down there, and I didn't feel that strong down there, so I was definitely nervous about that, about the race moving to the bottom. But just knew I knew my car was really good around the top, and I'm generally pretty good at banging the fence down. So I didn't feel like anybody was going to be able to do it better than I was doing it. So I knew as long as I didn't miss the bottom, we were, Ricky or anybody else was going to have a really, really hard time circling us. And it almost got me a little too in conserve mode. Like I got up on the berm on entry a couple times and was kind of, I didn't have the best run there on the bottom, and I just haven't felt completely comfortable on the bottom this year. So it's some things we need to work out on our end to get rolling around the bottom just a little bit better.
Last year you came one spot from winning the big driller. What's going to be different about the 55-lap race this Saturday night as opposed to last year? What do you think about the track?
Yeah, the track's definitely more technical. Like it got technical at the end of last year, but it's been more technical right out of the gate. So it seems like it's going to be, for a long time Chili Bowl started around the fence and moved to the bottom. And then for a long time for a few years it was around the bottom and moved to the fence. This year it seems more and more like it's going to start on the fence and migrate back to the bottom, like the years that you saw, Sammy and Kevin win all those races. It's seeming to be a little bit more of that type of racetrack than it's been going pounding the fence at the end of the deal.
How big are these pole shuffle races going to be? How important is it where you're going to start the 55-lap race?
Yeah, it's always nice to hang the thing on the front row if you can. You got to keep in mind in the pole shuffle, like I think the worst that I'll end up is fourth, so you don't want to junk the thing, right? You got to keep in the back of your mind that you do need to be a little conservative in the pole shuffle, and it's not the worst thing in the world to be able to follow a guy and move around and see what's working and what's not working. When you're leading, you don't get that opportunity as well. You're more moving around on feel. When you're behind a guy, you can kind of move and see if you gain time or lost time. So the advantage starting on the front row is you don't have to pass the guys. Advantage starting in the second row is you get to try a few things and see what works and what doesn't. So kind of 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. But that being said, I tell myself that every year, and then I go out in the pole shovel and race like a maniac for the front row. So I probably won't be real conservative.
Long day of racing tomorrow. How do you get ready to go? This is a special day of racing.
Yeah, I'll go back to the room tonight. Probably just lay low with the wife and talk about tonight's races, and she's pretty switched on, so she helps me a lot with things that she sees out of the car and stuff I need to clean up and stuff we can clean up with the handling, and talk through what went on tonight, and probably watch the race over a couple times, and then just sleep in tomorrow, get up, work out a little bit, kind of get my head right, and come over here and go to work.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
There you have it. That's Justin Grant last night after his victory over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky was really, to be honest with you, way more competitive than I thought he was going to be last night, to be honest with you, Kirk. I didn't think that Ricky would have enough to muster it up to get up there around Justin Grant, but he had enough car to do it last night.
We did get around him once.
One time, but yeah.
Do you think he surprised Justin right there? Because, I
do. I think there was a little bit of, Ricky's fast enough. And listen, we've seen Ricky fast down here before. There's no surprise that he can get around this racetrack. He's been doing it a long time. And I think that Ricky, you better take him serious tonight. Listen, here's the problem with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky is very aggressive, right? And when Ricky gets up on the wheel, as we've seen him in Cup, sometimes bad things happen. And Ricky is one of those kind of guys that's elbows up, throttle down, go for it type mentality. If he can string 55 laps together, look for Ricky Stenhouse to be right in the middle of it tonight.
He's real confident about tonight. I spoke with Ricky after the races last night. Here's his take on trying to get around Justin Grant for the win, but still a pretty happy guy after Friday night's qualifying round.
Yeah, I was not happy to see that yellow flag, but Justin and I kind of banged wheels going down the front straightaway, and the caution came out kind of right after, and I was like, oh no, I didn't turn him over or something, did I? And so on one hand I was like, oh man, I hope I didn't turn him over. On the other hand, I was really bummed that I showed him the line and he was able to take advantage of it that next restart. I felt like that was our best shot, and I'd been running the bottom really well all night, and so I was kind of waiting until the top got that tricky in 3 and 4 like it had been. And as soon as it did, I was like, all right, as soon as I'm close enough, I'm gonna give it a shot. And he bobbled at the same time, and it worked out perfect until the caution came out. And so for me, it was it's kind of bittersweet to see the caution come out. But then I kind of reset. All right, now what do I got to do to get by him? And I kept getting really good restarts, and I was really good in 1 and 2 on the top, and he kept kind of starting to play defense mode, just trying to get to the end of the race. And those last 2 laps, I ripped 1 and 2 really, really well, and tried to hit 3 and 4 perfect. That last lap just missed it a little bit.
Stenhouse feels pretty good about tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about
even though
it.
he didn't win.
No, but you know what? He showed a lot of speed against the car that I personally picked to win tonight. I picked Justin Grant to win tonight. I think he showed more speed with that car than anybody else. And when you're running that close to maybe one of the favorites to win the race, you got to feel pretty confident. Ricky Stenhouse is that guy. Kirk, Christopher Bell also picked up a victory this week.
Hey, before we go to Christopher,
Yeah.
I got to talk about Zeb Wise.
What about Zeb?
Last night, he had to come out of the B main. He started at the tail of the field, and he ends up in 3rd place last night. If you remember Zeb Wise, he won the BC 39 here a couple years ago at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and that was a hell of a run he made up through the field.
Yep.
And I've got his comments last night about his charge from the back of the pack to finish 3rd, just 1 spot out of an automatic transfer, but still quite a run for Zeb Wise.
It was pretty hectic there at the beginning with, how fast both lanes were. The bottom and the top were somewhat equal at the beginning. I think the bottom was a little better, and then I don't know if it was Darren Pittman or someone showed me their nose on the top, and I lane changed and got up there really quick, and then just started picking them off one by one, and then really no gimmies from 17th to 3rd. I think maybe Tom Harris was my only gimme that I got. So yeah, definitely was a lot of work. And my car got really, it was really good all race, obviously, but really good once it got slick and I could, maneuver. And if I want to go to the top, it was good up there. If I want to go to the bottom, it was good down there. So, just really happy with my car.
There he is, Zeb Wise. He's going to have to do it again tonight, coming from the B main to charge up, but he's got 55 laps to work his way up through the field in tonight's race. There is Zeb Wise. So pretty good run for him. Christopher Bell, talking about him, he won Thursday night's preliminary round, as he does every year. Bell, the 3-time Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Midget Nationals champion, is coming through with a pretty good run. Remember last year he flipped his race car on the last lap to win, to not take himself out of a chance of winning last year's feature event. We all remember that big flip that Christopher Bell had last year. He's going to try to avoid that tonight, but here's Christopher Bell, the Thursday night winner here at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, I felt really good on the top, and I started making a lot of time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get there. And then whenever he moved up, I'm like, all right, time to try something else. So I moved down, and fortunately was able to get going good on the bottom too.
And there he is, Christopher Bell. That's after Rico. The Keith Kunz Motorsports won the first 4 nights here at the Chili Bowl. Tanner Carrick on Monday night. You had Buddy Kofoid on Tuesday night, Rico on Wednesday night, and then Christopher Bell on Thursday night. But that was all broken last night with the win by Justin Grant.
All right. Well, listen, quickly, we want to bring in our old buddy Scotty Cook, who's been a part of the Flow broadcast this week. Scotty, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Are you getting a little tired yet, bud?
I'm pooped with
Yeah?
a P-O-O-O capital O-O-P-E.
Did you get any sleep last night?
I did. I was down by about 2:30 a.m.
Oh, that is very early for
Yes,
Scotty
sir.
Cook.
Yes, sir. And we walked in the door with 5 minutes to spare for the production meeting. So
Yeah.
how did I do it? I just don't know. And we're on autopilot, and we're going to bang out one more good one today.
One more big day.
Call it good for another year.
Hey, hey, Scotty, let me ask you, out of all the cars that you've seen race this week, who do you think's got the best chance to win?
Man.
I mean, listen, this track has been very technical all week, hasn't it?
Indeed.
I mean, that cushion, if you get up there and play with it, you better be ready.
I really need to see a starting lineup before I start making picks. Obviously, Christopher looked really good the other night, waiting
Right.
late to pounce, and he was utilizing the bottom of the racetrack very, very well. Two-time and defending champion Kyle Larson, up to this point right now, anything can happen today, but he seems to be off about a half a tick.
Right.
But
I
we
think
know
so,
right
too.
now he is the Tom Brady of all of motorsports. He is the GOAT.
Right.
And he will likely find a way to be there come supper time. We'll just have to wait and see. I think those are your two favorites. Tanner Thorson looked really fast on his
did.
qualifying night. Man, I mean,
But if you
I
had
don't
to
know-
pick one, Scotty,
that's what I was trying to steer clear from.
you can just try to pick one.
Come on, step out of limb, Scotty.
Don't be
Man,
scared.
Yeah, if there's ever been a year where there's going to be a not so household name to do it, this could certainly be the year. But I'm not feeling too brave this morning. I'm going to go with the three-peat for Kyle Larson.
All right. Well, I'm sticking with Justin Grant to pick up the win.
I think that could happen. I really do.
But my heart says Buddy Kofoid because he really put it on Kyle during that Race of Champions race, and to be honest with you, he was one of the few guys that could hold him off. Right?
Do I dare switch my pick? I want to choose Buddy.
Buddy Kofoid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy looked good the other night. And like I said, if there's a year that there's going to be a new one, and he looked really, really good on his qualifying night. And as we say, anything can happen today. Always does, usually does. But
You know, the one thing that stood out to me is when Buddy said that he is prepared to outrun Kyle Larson. You know, he knows that he can do it. He's got the confidence. And he even said it at one time, I wanted it more than Kyle. I think that's the right mindset going into this weekend, don't you think?
Well, you have to have an aggressive mindset, and you have to have a game plan going in. Obviously, Buddy looked really, really good on his qualifying night. He spoke about a little extra level of confidence coming into the building this year with a USAC Midget Championship, and I really do think it could be his year, actually.
He had a kind of little setback last year. He had an injury that set him back just a little bit during last year, didn't he?
I believe he did, yeah.
And it took him a while to kind of get back. And right towards the end of the season, he was just rounding back into the form we had been used to seeing Buddy compete in.
Man, I can't say enough about that young man. I think the future's so very bright. Rising star out of Pengrove, California, and I really think there's a good chance we could see him still yet racing on Sundays in the near future, Scott. What do you think?
Who, Buddy?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
All but gone.
All but gone. He said that he'd like to be down there within the next 2 years.
Yeah. He'll be a good one.
Yeah.
But he'll still come back to the Chili Bowl.
Oh, he'll be just like the rest of these boys.
Right.
They can't
That's
get
right.
enough of this building, and they can't get enough of their grassroots.
Right.
Who are some of the other drivers that we didn't talk so much about leading into the week that surprised you a little bit, that stepped up and could be a big player tonight?
You know me personally, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky looked really stout last
did.
night. I picked him to win. He came up just short. A couple of other standouts that really turned my head on their qualifying nights. CJ Leary. He could
for
be
sure.
hovering around that top 5. I heard him murmuring around the production trailer during the meeting that he could be a winner. It's going to take a big old big old leap of faith.
Kevin
for
Thomas
that to happen.
Jr. looked pretty good too.
KTJ, I'm going to tell you what, of all the qualifying nights, no one impressed me more than young Zeb Wise last night. What an unbelievable
Coming
drive.
out of the B.
From 17th starting spot out of the B to crack the top 3. That is one hell of a run, boys.
He can do it again tonight. He's
can
going
do
to
it
be in
again
the
tonight.
B main, and he'll have more laps to try to get to the front tonight.
Just one of so many young, talented drivers in this building this weekend.
Are we disrespecting Rico by not throwing his name in the hat?
He's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And he should be a player before it's over with. But Rico, even though he won the other night, just hasn't shown me that little extra something that it's going to take to get up on that stage tonight.
Right.
Just yet. Again,
But
Saturday, anything can happen.
But as you know, Scotty, you can't throw caution at the wind and take a chance of destroying a car before Saturday night, right? I mean, you want to bring your best piece in. You don't want it all tore up. You don't want to have to be like Buddy Kofoid. He had that little incident in the Viroc Race of Champions.
Right.
It tweaked the frame a little bit. They had to strip it down, get that car back together, make it work right, get it all measured up good. You don't want to have to do that. And I think a lot of these drivers, they don't take those extra chances sometimes out during the prelim nights because they want to make sure they got a good car on Saturday.
And it goes without saying, it's too easy to get behind the 8-ball here on your qualifying night.
Yeah.
It's just so easy. It's so much easier to get behind the 8-ball than it is to have success in your heat and your qualifier.
Just like Sammy, he had a problem in his heat race right out of the gate, and it's been downhill from there.
I mean,
For
all it takes
66-year-old Sammy Swindell.
all it takes is
one of my favorites.
All it takes is one hiccup on your qualifying night, and you're here crack ass of the dawn as we are this morning.
Tanner Thorson is another driver that I think you need to keep your eye on.
I mentioned him a moment ago too.
Yeah,
he was
so
very
he's got a good run going.
very impressive on his qualifying night.
There's another Tanner Carrick. It's pretty fast as well.
I believe Tanner Carrick went on Monday night.
Yep.
Didn't he win Monday night?
Yes.
Yep.
Monday night.
Monday night.
Tanner Carrick, Monday night winner. He looked very well, very good as well. But gosh, we just rattled off about 6 to 8 drivers. Not all of them can be in the top 2 or 3 at once, but
right.
I mean, every one of those names mentioned are fully capable of tussling in the top 3 and pulling off a championship.
Let me throw
tonight.
another driver in there. And people might not think of him because he's a national sprint car champion. Blake Hahn has showed a lot of speed in his car. Podium finish on his qualifying night. Finished 3rd, 1 spot out of a transfer position.
I'm going to
that little team with him and Dalton and
Curtis Jones
and Curtis. That's a small little team with 1 car.
Little team that could. Well,
They showed some speed.
I don't think it's going too far out on a limb tonight and say I don't know where he's going to finish. I think Blake could pull off potentially
A
the
podium.
top 5. It's going to take a big effort, but I think Blake's got a top 10 up his sleeve tonight. And hands down, no doubt, tonight will be Blake Hahn's career best Chili Bowl finish. That's my speculation.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on it because he showed the speed all week.
Well, I believe he finished 3rd on his qualifying night.
He did.
Got onto the podium.
1 spot out.
Yes, sir.
For the 3rd time.
Yep.
1 spot out.
Yeah.
So we're starting here in a few minutes. Q Mains is where we start today, right?
This is the day we all learn our alphabet backwards,
That's
times
right.
2.
Scotty, now when you have to start with the Q main, I don't think we've ever went back that far.
I don't think we have either.
That spells for a long day.
We're about to run out of alphabet, boys.
Are you going to start the broadcast off today? Is that what you're doing?
I am down in the booth.
Are you?
Like old times.
Like old times. You're going to call some races.
Coffee and donuts with Jim Childers at this year will be the earliest I've
Jim
ever.
Childers will not be here.
No,
this
he
year.
will not. But I got used to after all these years sitting in there with old Jim Childers and having a good time. I don't believe Lenny will be back this year, will he? No,
I'm not sure that Lenny's going to be here.
Actually, I'll be down there with Caleb and
Chris
Wilner and man.
How about having Jeff Gordon in the booth last night?
That was pretty cool. I didn't
wasn't
know
it?
until later, but
Yeah.
So, hey, while I have an opportunity, I want to thank you guys for giving me a platform to do a little bit of extra work this weekend and create a little extra revenue. And I'm very grateful for you guys for doing that. And a big hello and a big thank you to Miles Hill with Town Line Variety, Hill Racing, CigarPort.ca, and Mr. David Goodson, Impact Signs, Awnings, and Wraps, and Mr. Austin O'Neill for all his good help for you guys this weekend.
Right, he's been a great help, man.
Indeed.
He'll be driving down here at the Chili Bowl someday.
One of these days.
Yeah, we just got to get him a ride. That's all we
Yep.
got to do.
Yep.
So, all right, do we got to let you go so you can go to
I
work?
mean,
what time you got to be there?
yeah, I got to be there in about 15 minutes, so
All
I'm
right.
good for another few. But
Well, why don't we do this? We're running a little bit long in this first segment. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more of Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. We'll be back with more Track Talk in a moment. Stay tuned.
if my watch is right, was it 8:26?
It is 27.
Yes, sir.
Van Fleet there, one of my favorites. Welcome back. It's Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. I'm Scott Traylor, along with Kirk Elliott and Scotty Cook, who's joining us just for a few minutes before he goes to work. Scotty, the biggest eye popper this week of anything that you've seen out on the racetrack, was there one particular incident out there that stood out to you above the rest?
Well, typically the most current events stay freshest in my memory.
Right.
But I honestly, I can't say that I saw anything as impressive all week long than Zeb Wise's run last night.
Right.
Out of the B, transferred, started 17th, and that boy absolutely freight trained. One thing I will be interesting to watch tonight is, man, 3 nights ago, man, that berm, I think it was 3 nights ago, Thursday night, that would have been 2 nights ago, that berm down in 1 and 2.
Gnarly.
But we've seen some big monsters here, but that sucker may have been the gnarliest cushion down in 1 and 2 that I've ever seen in this building. It wasn't back last night. But we'll see. That the racetrack always plays in. It always plays a factor in this thing. And you know me. You know how I like them.
You know what I see, Scotty, is when the guys try to cheat it in, when they get in there and then they bounce that right rear off the cushion, it throws the front end.
Yeah.
It seems like if you're going to commit to the cushion, you need to take it all the way in.
You got to drive it
right at the start of the corner and drive it all the way through. If you try to cheat it in,
otherwise you're playing catch up.
Right.
And you're going to bounce off of it and lose a spot.
We all remember that bit Christopher Bell last year.
Yep.
Just
on the 54th lap.
And I asked him about that the other night. I said, well, we just hope it doesn't happen again.
Just a mistake. He's not a rookie here anymore. He knows how to get around this place. He was just rolling the marbles out and going for it all, and then he
for the win.
Ended up on his head, and that's what you got to do here. Obviously, I don't know that I would forecast that happening again tonight. He's good. Kyle's good. Rico's good. They're all good. Who in the world's going to win? We do not know. All we can do is run them down to the bottom of that ramp and turn them loose.
And we found out that 55 laps is really a long time. The track changes. The whole complexion of the race always changes from the beginning to the end.
It absolutely does.
Sure does.
And one thing that we learned throughout the course of the week each and every year is how quickly the racetrack transitions. You can watch it transition each night from a fresh rip and manicure and groom. It takes about 5 or 6 heat races, and that sucker starts widening out, and it transitions very, very quickly. Obviously, upon the drop of the green flag, it's going to be locked down on a fresh track for about 10 laps, and then to watch it progressively widen out, and then before those 55 laps are up, typically it's all the way to the wall, and it's hang on to your britches.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to stay with Justin Grant. I think about last year. I think what Kyle Larson said when he was looking at the monitor up there. That's a big discussion this week, Scotty. Should they take the monitor down?
Well, you heard Mr. Ward. I watched your passing points earlier in the week. You had Matt Ward on, and you said, "Is it going anywhere?" He said, in his famous words, "Negative Ghost Rider." It's not going anywhere, but apparently he's got something up his sleeve.
He's going to change it to where you can't see it as good.
That's a news flash yet to be undisclosed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where would you put it in the arena?
If you take a poll of the drivers, I think
95% would say keep that sucker right where it is.
No, believe it or not, in the post-race press conferences, Scotty, Kyle Larson said they should get rid of it.
Wow.
Bell thought they should get rid of it.
Bell thought they should get rid of it.
They say that, but then when it's gone, they're going to be like, man, I miss having that thing.
But I think it would make the racing better out on the track.
Where would you position it in the arena where it wouldn't be that big of a deal?
Right in the middle of the racetrack, because they can't see it as well there.
Right.
And then all the fans could just hang it right over the middle of the infield.
Instead of looking at it coming down of turn 4,
you can look
all the way down the front straightaway, just move it to the center.
Yeah,
what you're saying.
Because they're not going to have time to look over their shoulder to their left up into the middle of the infield.
Yeah.
Rather than looking directly at it coming out of turn 4.
I don't think they'd have to move it much to make a big difference.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I
do too.
I think it adds.
I don't.
I think it adds a variable.
I think it's just a form of blocking. It's like driving with a mirror.
A mirror.
Have we worn the topic out this week? They've been asked in the press conferences every night about it.
I mean, it's the first time anybody's, after all these years of having it, it's first year that it's really ever been brought up as an issue.
Right.
And it's only because Kyle Larson admitted that helped him win the race last year.
And then after Kyle admits that, everyone follows suit and admits, yeah, I use it. They use it.
You know, there's several drivers that say that they don't use it because it distracts them a little bit
Right.
when they try to look at it.
Right.
So we'll just have to see how it all plays out tonight. But
We shall
I think
see.
maybe we'll see a change with the big screen in the future.
Indeed,
I think.
indeed.
We've seen some wild crashes this week, haven't we?
We've seen some big
Oh,
ones,
man.
and we'll probably see a few more before days in.
What are some of the ones that stick out? There was one the other night that got up into the fence.
Was it
Big time.
Santino? Ferrucci took a big one.
Yeah.
A
yeah.
big one.
Big one.
Uh,
Dinged him up a little.
Lane Goodman took a big one last night.
Last night, getting into turn 3 down there, hit the end of the wall.
Yeah, there have been some really big crashes for
Yeah.
sure.
You interviewed Lane after that one,
I
too,
did
didn't
not.
You didn't?
Brian, it was Brian.
It
Yeah.
was Brian.
But man, I was thinking yesterday afternoon, just kind of going over the Flow crew, and it's so crazy to think that we all connected back here for our first broadcast. My gosh, back 2006.
16 years ago. Well, this would be 17
the
years
year
ago.
Tim McCready won.
Broke his back. Or no,
the year he won.
Yeah, okay. And then he came, and then he got hurt a few years later.
Boy, that still ranks to me as the scariest crash
It was
I've
big.
seen down here.
Yeah. But just to think, it started with you guys,
Yep.
myself, Brian Kopinski.
Just a handful of us.
I think Todd Surprise may have been down here with us.
Yeah, he probably was. I think he broke his arm his first year.
Oh, man.
Remember that?
What a deal. That seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slip down
2013.
Yeah.
And of course, the day that it's seared in our minds forever is when we learned the news of Donnie Ray Crawford.
That took all the air out of this building.
Oh,
That
my
is,
goodness.
today is the anniversary.
Right.
How many years ago has that been?
2012.
Yeah.
That would be
10 years.
10 years ago.
10-year
Yeah.
anniversary today.
Mhm.
Crazy.
Yeah,
It's
it's
nuts.
It's hard to believe it's been that long. You need to get out of here.
Yeah, I need to get.
All right. See you later, buddy.
Thank
Have a
you
good
guys.
day,
Hey,
Scotty.
Thank you guys so much. Sincerely, I love you guys, and we've all had so much fun together over
Yeah.
the years.
It
I
ain't
don't-
over yet,
I don't
bud.
think it's over, but I just want you to know that I love you guys, and we've had a damn good run.
Yep, we have.
Yep.
And it's not going to end.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, guys.
Have
God
a good
bless
one
you.
today.
Thanks, Scotty.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
There he is, Scotty Cook.
Uh-huh.
You know, the thing I love about Scotty Cook is he is unique. There's just no one like him. We watch a lot of races on video, and we've done a lot of races at Racing Boys, and I am so entertained by Scotty Cook. He is just he makes me laugh, and I just love the guy. He's passionate about racing. He's a race fan first, and he brings his own unique style to the coverage. And
Well,
I love him.
Listen, the thing about Scotty is he's not like the rest of the guys,
That's right.
right?
That's the beauty of Scotty Cook.
Scotty has a rapport with the race fans that not many people ever have.
Is there anybody better doing the Tulsa Shootout, interviewing kids than Scotty Cook? The
Probably
answer
not.
is no.
Probably not.
He talks to these kids better than anyone.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to play a lengthy interview that we did with Buddy
No,
Kofoid.
we're going to do that hour two.
Oh, you're not going to do that hour one.
We're going to do that hour two, and we've got some more sound bites we can run.
So we're going to run some Tanner Carrick, Buddy Kofoid, and Rico Abreu, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a break. More live coverage from the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals. It's Track Talk with Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott. We'll be back with more right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned. to Track Talk here live from the Tulsa Expo Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals. And I don't know if you know, but this is the first year that Kirk and I have not been involved with the production of the Chili Bowl in the last 16 years. We did it for 16 years. This is the 17th year. But this is our 22nd year, Kirk, of hosting Track Talk from down here. We've done it for 22 years in a row. How about that?
I never will forget. Well, when you approached me to be your co-host on Track Talk way
Right.
back in 1999, we got together in June of 2000. I said we got to go down and do our show at the Chili Bowl
Right.
every year.
Right.
We've got to do that. Of course, we did the show year round. We've got to have year-round topics to talk about. The Chili Bowl was just an obvious place for you and I to come down and do our show. So in 2001, we came down here and we broadcasted our show for the first time.
And we've done it
from the
every
Chili
year
Bowl.
ever since.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that got us the gig, really.
It did, because
yeah.
if you remember right, Emmett Hahn came up to us, and we were talking about doing maybe the audio broadcast at the time. And I went to Emmett and I said, Emmett, what about us doing the audio broadcast of the Chili Bowl? He goes, go right ahead. And it kind of fell in our lap, and that's how it all started. And then we ended up doing the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour and all the broadcasts we've done for the last, how many years? 15 years probably we've done on the air. So, it's been a pleasure to do it, but, it's time to move on. We're going to be doing Mostly Motorsports, the podcast now. That's something that we're really tuned into, and I know, Kirk, you're planning on moving back to Iowa in September. The show's going to change quite a bit once Kirk's gone, so hopefully Mostly Motorsports. The Saturday morning might turn into the best of Mostly Motorsports. So,
but I'm going to be here through the
September.
NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway in September, so we'll be around for all summer long. But it is kind of funny how life throws you some great cards through the years, and we're very fortunate to be a part of this thing for a lot of years. And after 8 years of live audio, we transitioned into live video and did that for 8 years. One of them for Flo last year.
You know what we're really lucky at, Kirk, that Flo came in and bought the rights from us.
Yeah.
That's where we were lucky.
So anyway,
it was a good thing.
Flo's doing a great job. And of course, a reminder tonight, MAV TV has the live coverage beginning at 7:30.
They do the C, the D's, and the A.
Right.
And that starts at 7:30 Central Time, right? So,
MAV
listen,
TV Plus.
You've
Also,
got to
if you're
get your
online.
MAV TV, folks. Listen, as much as Flo is great and they've got all these races and everything, you've got to go to your cable provider and tell the folks at your favorite cable provider, we want our MAV TV, because there's more racing and more cool stuff on there to watch. Motocross, monster trucks, pavement racing, dirt racing, everything is on drag racing. Everything is on MAV TV, and you need it. So go to your local cable provider, tell them you want your MAV TV.
And if you don't have MAV TV, they got MAV TV Plus. That's your online way that you can watch tonight's races. So that's planned Flow Racing beginning at 9 this morning all day long, and then MAV TV or MAV TV Plus at 7:30 tonight.
All right, let's get into a couple sound bites here. We want to start off with Tanner Carrick. Is that all right?
Yeah, why not? Monday night, Tanner Carrick comes up with a big night. That's also the night they had the Vyrock Race of Champions that Justin Grant won. But Tanner Carrick was the big winner on Monday night.
I got around Jerry right before Mitchell got upside down, and I had actually got right underneath Mitchell, and I looked up, and he was up in the curb and coming down off it kind of towards me, and I was in a hurry to get around him, and I got around him, and I came back around a lap later, and he's tipped over on his side. So at that point, I was like, I didn't know if he was part of the caution or the red. I didn't know who it was. I thought he was going to get his spot back, so I was like, dang, this is kind of my luck that I normally have, but that wasn't the case. I came around, and Keith and those guys were telling me I was doing good to stay on the bottom, and we had the lead, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah, Mitchell Moles had problem. Emerson Axum had a problem too.
Right,
So,
yeah.
he looked like going into the week that Emerson Axum was going to have a fast race car.
Right. Another guy that I think a lot of people are putting their hopes on to beat Kyle Larson. We saw it in the Race of Champions, Kirk, how many people were really rooting for Buddy Kofoid. And Buddy Kofoid, are we going to play that in the second hour, right?
Well, I can play a
the
brief-
soundbite?
This is different than your interview. We're
Okay.
going to replay the interview you did with Buddy. So these are some different comments.
All right, this is Buddy
made.
Kofoid after his Vyrock win earlier this week.
It was, I don't want to say shocking, but, the reality of us winning a prelim night really set in because I knew the way the track kind of played out at the end that you had to protect in 3 and 4 on the bottom and be super critical on the berm, but then you also had to rip the top at 1 and 2 and be smooth on the cushion and not get tight and toss your nose. So I knew kind of once I got around him off 2 and got to the bottom, I knew it wasn't over, but I knew that my shot of winning, obviously had went up a lot, obviously leading, but I had to fend him off for 2 or 3 laps after that. So it was tough, but it was a lot of fun.
And that was the Tuesday night main event winner, Buddy Kofoid. And, I think everybody thought Kyle Larson was going to be the man, but Buddy had a lot to say about that.
Buddy held him off, right. And then obviously Rico Abreu, one of the fan favorites here at the Tulsa Expo Center. He's a 2-time winner of the Chili Bowl. Here's some comments from Rico earlier this week.
Great race car, man. It was glued on the bottom and glued on the top, so we were just able to hit our marks and get going, and then those guys, any chance they made a mistake, we were right there to pass them. It got technical at the end. It's just really difficult to run the cushion. You had to be real easy on the throttle and not allow your front end to push. I'm hungry to get another drill. I'll do whatever it takes.
There he is, 2-time winner of the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Men's Nationals.
Sounded like there was a party going on behind him.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on your Mostly Motorsports show
Right.
on Thursday morning, and he and Christopher Bell both weren't able to make it. I hope both are okay. I saw Rico out there last night, so I guess he's
Rico's
okay.
told me he was getting some IV. Who knows what Rico did the couple nights before that? He might have went out and had a good time. Need to get some fluids in him, get rehydrated, but he wasn't able to make it. He did promise me though that if he wins tonight, he'll be on with us Monday on Mostly Motorsports.
Well, that's bit.
Yeah.
I think he's got as good a shot as anybody out there right now.
I do
Hey,
too.
we've got a couple of more sound bites here. Kevin Thomas Jr., how about that run that he made on Wednesday night to try to get around Rico Abreu? Here is Kevin Thomas Jr.
It was honestly probably the last lap. We were both fighting there for the win. He made a good move by going to the bottom on the last lap. I think he killed a little bit of his momentum coming off of 2, and we got closer than we had been all night. So, it was fun battling back and forth. We got up to 3rd at one point, fell back to 5th, got back to 2nd. So, we went a lot of forward and backwards and back forward again. So, everybody worked hard on the race car. They gave me a great car as well. Just not much more you can ask for other than a win.
There's Kevin Thomas Jr.
Right.
How about Tanner Thorson, the second place finisher on Thursday night to Christopher Bell?
Yeah, I just was watching the board, and then my guys under the yellow just kind of gave me to use my head and think about the top, and I knew, after watching the board and watching how Bell was coming up, I knew I just needed to get up there and rip it, and just disappointed myself, man.
Pretty cool guy,
Right.
Tanner Thorson.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
Player. And finally, Blake Hahn. There's a little brief sound bite from Blake's third place finish on Thursday night.
Yeah, not bad. Definitely happy to be on the podium. We're disappointed we're not locked in the A feature, but we're glad we're on the podium. I think it's our second year to do it, so it's getting to become a thing that we're happy to be part of.
I think he's got and we talked about this earlier with Scotty Cook. Blake Hahn's got a
Right.
pretty good chance to get a
I think so.
great finish tonight.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's got a chance to get in the top 5. Scotty said top 10, but I think he's got a chance
Wouldn't
to
that
crack
be
the top
something?
5. That'd be great for him. Yeah.
Yeah, how big a story would that be? A Han
Well, it's a little
finishing
team.
the top 5 of the Chili Bowl. That'd be something. Or top 10. Even
Yeah.
top 10 would be.
When you take on the likes
incredible.
of somebody like Keith Coons and their team, they have 15 cars, and some of these other teams that have multiple cars, Matt Wood's team, they have a ton of cars over there as well. Yeah, if you can get there and outrun those guys, you're going to do a pretty good job.
Congratulations to Blake Hahn. He is the North American 360 Sprint Car Driver of the Year.
Right, and Brian Holbert, the 360 Media of the Year.
Yeah,
Good for him.
Congratulations to him. Also, Brad Sweet is the 410 Driver of the Year, and Brady Bacon is the non-wing Driver of the Year. And congratulations to all of those that were inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
All right.
The names to be inducted in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
All right, don't forget hour number 2 coming up exclusively on our Facebook page. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube. It's all live. It's hour number 2. It's a little bit different than hour number 1. We hope that you'll join us. We're going to play a lengthy interview with Buddy Kofoid. For Kirk Elliott, for Austin O'Neill, I'm Scott Traylor. Thanking Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Sure, especially sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know, the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor, along with Kirk Elliott and producer Austin O'Neill. We are live at the Tulsa Expo Center. As you can hear over the PA, things are about ready to get underway. Racing starting at 9 o'clock this morning with a Q-Main. Q-Main, Kirk. You ever heard of such a thing? Q-Main.
No, you know, I think about this every year is... have you ever practiced counting the alphabet backwards? That's always kind of a fun exercise.
Right.
You know, what's ahead of Q? You know, O or OP. P is ahead of Q. Right? I don't know. It's kind of fun to go through the day and see the alphabet shrink down. And the beauty of the Chili Bowl on Saturday is they've got windows all around the Expo Center here.
Right.
And you can tell when it's daytime and you can tell when night falls. So at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you can see the darkness starting to set in. And when it finally does get dark, the energy level just increases as the hours go on. And it's kind of fun to see the stands fill up as the day goes on. And by 5 or 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, hey, everybody's so jacked up they can't wait.
Kirk, they're jacked up on alcohol.
Yeah, that's a lot of it. Hey, you know, I went down and walked up into the grandstands during one of the breaks last night, just to kind of catch the flavor and the feel of the event.
Catch the COVID?
I don't think so. I haven't yet. You already got it, so I won't get it from you. But anyway, it was just kind of fun to hang out with the race fans up there and just kind of let all of the atmosphere kind of flow in. I really haven't had a chance to do that much over the years. We've been so focused in on the broadcast and everything.
Yep.
So it's kind of fun just to go up into the grandstand and kind of catch the flavor and the feel of the whole event.
Right. Well, earlier this week, I had a chance to do an interview with Buddy Kofoid. It's about a 15-minute interview. We thought we'd play that for you here this morning. It's pretty insightful, if you want to know the truth. We talk about a lot of different things and where he's going in his life and where his expectations are as a driver, where he wants to be in a couple years. And this is that interview that I did with Buddy Kofoid earlier this week right here at the Tulsa Expo Center. Joining us now is last night's winner, or 2 nights ago, winner here at the Chili Bowl, Buddy Kofoid. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man. Listen, I know you've heard this about 1,000 times, but that was one of the most exciting races that we've ever seen here at the Chili Bowl, and you were a part of it, man. Are you still a little giddy about that from last night?
Yeah, no, it's, like you said, I feel like that was one of the most intense but most fun races I've ever been a part of or that I've even competed in.
Yeah.
The racing was just so much fun and the track was amazing. Nothing against Monday, but just compared to Monday, it was, I feel like, head over heels better, and I feel like the track kind of suited my style, and I feel like it produced really good racing. So it was a blast to be a part of, and it's still cool to, walk around here and have the feeling of what you did, but also winning your first time here is special, right. But also knowing that you can take a deep breath and know that you're in it for Saturday.
Right. Well, it seems like you were very patient last night. You weren't charging too early. You weren't taking too many chances. Talk about the mindset when you see that traffic coming, and I know that you were hoping to play off of that traffic. Yes. Talk about how that all came together as far as mentally when you're approaching that traffic and you see what's going on in front of you.
Yeah, so I've noticed, with Chili Bowl here, the last couple years, the track surface has been a lot different where the lines move a lot quicker. So whether, it's on the bottom, I feel like the top's going to come in, not long after, or right. If the top gets kind of far around, it's pretty much going to be right back to the bottom, as quick as you can. But I also felt like I had a really good car to where I could switch back and forth whenever I wanted to, or whenever Kyle switched to my line, I would just go back to the other line.
Yeah, right.
And but yeah,
so you were comfortable top bottom. It didn't matter where, right?
Yeah. But then it got to a point to where the top and 3 and 4 got so treacherous and the cushion was so tall that I feel like you had to finesse it so much to where you gave up a little bit on speed just so you didn't park it in the curb wrong. So that's
right.
Why I moved to the bottom in 3 and 4 about halfway just to try it, because I got that sense early on, so I moved to the bottom and I felt like I could pull up on Kyle a little bit. So I knew that it had to be there in the end in 3 and 4. But then in 1 and 2, I tried the bottom and it was okay, but then the way it shaped out in the cushion in 1 and 2, I knew that it was going to be okay for that race, and it was going to be the place to be was going to be up there.
Right. Kyle threw a couple bombs at you down there in 2, didn't he?
Yeah, they weren't unexpected, but they were big, and that I think it was 3 laps in a row, and that third one was the one where he actually got in front of me, and it was close, but it was I was able to get a good run down the hill, and I knew 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, it was going to be hard to drive around me, so I knew that because I was already content with the bottom, and I knew if I could just get under him, then it was going to be hard for him to drive around me if I could just run the bottom smooth.
It seemed like there, when you were still trying the top down there in 3 and 4, that you got balled up a couple times up there at the top.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, like I feel like I pulled him off the top by showing him a nose in 3 and 4 on the bottom.
Yeah.
Where he moved to the bottom, so I was like, go back to the top and try it, and got tight because I hadn't been up there for a little bit and it had gotten bigger. But
let me ask you: was it because the car was too tight, or was it because you were trying to get to the gas a little too quick? Or a combination
I
of
feel
maybe
like
both?
it had been a handful of laps since I'd been up there, so I feel like the cushion got taller earlier in the corner, and I probably underestimated it a little bit, and probably drove in a little bit too straight. But even though I got tight, I feel like I stayed with him better when he was on the bottom than, I feel like I could catch him on the bottom when he was on the top, and so. I knew we had a good car, and our cars are really versatile right now.
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm hearing that you guys built a car just for the Chili Bowl. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, Keith has had a handful of Chili Bowl specific cars for a long time.
Yep.
And then they get taken apart, and those parts get put onto the outdoor cars.
Right.
So So I guess going back. So the Chili Bowl cars get built brand new, but the chassis are a few years old or more, because they only get raced once or I guess twice a year.
Right.
In January, so they're still fresh, and not much has changed with what we have now. But I've been running a different package the last couple years, so we decided to build a Chili Bowl specific car, which a lot of people have. They're lighter weight cars,
right.
but to the same dimensions that we've had success with on the outdoors. But also, not a lot of people know, after the Viroc, we actually bent that car, and yesterday morning we had the car almost all the way apart except the seat and pretty much the front end. We had the motor out to straighten the frame. We had the whole rear end out, torque tube, driveline. We had everything out and put it all back together, and that was the car we won with.
How nervous were you when you knew that it was bent and they had to strip it down and do all that to it? Did that make you a little concerned?
Honestly, not at all, because I guess it's not really funny, but it is now. Going back to my first USAC win, we had to do the same exact thing. At Sweet Springs, it was a 2-night race in 2020.
Yeah.
And got an incident, got crashed the first lap and hurt the car, and had the whole thing stripped apart pretty much the same way that we had it yesterday. Put it all back together and won. And we're like, oh, it'd be funny if we could do it again. And I don't want to say ironically, but we were able to do it again with the car that's a little tweaked.
Well, when you have such a team like KKM behind you, that takes a little bit of that pressure away, knowing that you have the best in the business, really.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around it for so long. But my crew chief, Jared, he's only been doing it for 2 years as a crew chief.
And how old is he?
25 now. Oh. But I mean, he's so smart, and he picks up things so quick, and just the effort and dedication that he puts in to study things and figure things out is, I don't want to say mind-boggling, because I'm not surprised that he can do it, but it's cool to see, and it's nice to have him in my corner. But also having someone like Bo Bender, who's been around the KKM crew for years and years, having someone like him in our corner is very helpful. And I got good crew guys like Brandon Self and Kaz Townsend and Caleb and Shane and Eddie. They all do a tremendous job.
It seems like there's such a young core of people over there at KKM, and I think, I'm an old guy. I've been, on the national tour doing the broadcast for the last 13 years, and I tell everybody, it's time for us old guys to get out of this thing and start handing it over to the young people. And it seems like that the core of people over there at KKM are young.
Yeah, I mean, I bet. Well, so my first year at KKM, we averaged out our age, and it was 19 years old or 20 years old.
Crazy.
And at least I don't want to say there's two sides, but we have a couple crew chiefs and a couple trailers, so a few cars go over here and a few over here. So on the trailer I was racing out of, that was our average age, was 18 or 19 and a half or something like that.
Wow.
But this year, we have some different guys, but we're all a little older, but it's still probably 22 years old, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to be a part of it, and like I said, just their work ethic and dedication, I feel like kind of helps us put ourselves above some other people.
You know, so many cool things have happened. You know, you win the national championship. Yeah, you get to drive with Kevin in the 410. You work with Paul Silva. I mean, there's so much going on in your life. Do you ever sit back and think, I've got to be one of the luckiest people in the world right now? Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I'm so busy sometimes I don't get to sit back and think. No, I mean, I definitely appreciate it. I know that the position I'm in is very few and far between. But you know, there's times where, you know, I get to have a break, or I get to go home after maybe a few weeks, and then, you know, get to hang out and just, you know, living the dream.
Decompress a little bit, right? Yeah.
I say like recharging the batteries, but you know, I get to think about that stuff. And like you said, I worked with Paul Silva and Kevin Swindell, and get to race for Keith and Pete, and but also I get to be involved with Toyota and represent Mobil 1. So I have a lot of really good things, and you know, even this year I'll get to get back in some pavement stuff again, and you know, run with Bonsus and work with them. But also I have a good sprint car opportunity with Leighton Crouch and Bernie from Indy Race Parts.
Right.
So it's going to be really fun.
Well, let me tell you something. There's so many people keeping an eye on you right now, and I know that everybody's, you know, we hate it when NASCAR plucks our guys away, right? You're going to be one of those guys, and Larson said last night that you're a combination of him and Bell. Now, you're smooth like Bell, and he says that you're a little aggressive, but I think that's a good thing, right? But when Larson says that you're a little bit of Bell and Larson combined, that's got to be one of the greatest compliments ever, right?
Yeah, no, it's really cool to hear that, just because, I mean, I would consider them two of the best drivers, you know, that we have.
Right.
And, or at least in the building here for this example. But I've always looked up to Kyle, so to hear that's always been cool. And but then also being with Toyota and all that, I've gotten to get to know Christopher pretty well, and getting to race with him as a teammate's been cool. And I've just been blessed to be around a lot of really good people and make good connections and befriend a lot of people that I think better me for sure.
But here's the thing, you didn't get here because you weren't talented. You've got all the talent in the world, and I think that was the compliment that Kyle was giving you last night. So how do you like that pavement racing? You know, I raced on pavement for about 20 years, places like I-70 Speedway, and I did a lot of ARCA racing at the end of my career. How do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy some of the pavement stuff?
Yeah, it's fun just because it's completely different, and I like the dynamic of it. You know, even just everything about it, even down to, you know, having a radio. It's just, it's different, but it's so technical, and it is pretty much the opposite of what I've been used to these last 15 years, pretty much. So
people don't realize how technical it is.
It is, yeah. It's trying to find that little bit more speed is just so tough. But if you can do it, it's pretty satisfying, and you know that you've got a good car, or you have to have a good car for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, like being with Toyota and working with Bonsus and some good teams, and I'll be running for a really good team to come this year. It's what you need to be successful in the pavement, but also it just makes you even better.
Yeah. So I'll ask this question. You don't have to answer it, but how much longer do you think it is before you make that move to the pavement side of things? Do you think that happens in the next couple of years, you think?
I hope so, yeah. Like I said, I'll get to, I did a little bit last year, and then I'll get to do more this year. I mean, since I can remember, I've watched NASCAR on Sundays. That's all I've ever wanted to do is race Cup. So that dream is still there, and that's really all I've been working for. And like I said, being with Toyota, coming from dirt, I mean, it's obviously it's possible. I mean, a lot of people have done it, but it's a long road and it's tough. But being with Toyota has helped me realize that goal is there, or that chance is possible.
Yeah. All right. Before we let you go, I got to ask you. You got to feel good about your chances Saturday night, right? I mean, you just beat arguably the best driver in the world last night. What do you think your chances are of bringing home the Driller this year? Pretty good.
I would like to think pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously beating someone like Kyle with everything that he's done, but also for this race, for example, I mean, the reigning champion 2 years in a row. Yeah. That's a guy that you're going to have to go through. So to beat him heads up gives you a lot of confidence, and it kind of tells you that you can do it. So. There's a lot of other tough guys like Rico and Bell and Justin Grant. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be, just as good or that are going to be tough. So, but to beat Kyle, I feel like it doesn't determine how it will go, obviously, because nothing's guaranteed in racing, but it kind of helps you figure out what the tone will be on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your win. Good luck to you Saturday night. I know there's a lot of people that are pulling for you. I don't know if you realize that, but did you see the reaction of the crowd after you won that race last night? And you could tell you were pretty excited too, given the old number one as you drove around there.
Yeah, I knew that the crowd had to be excited in some way. Someone was telling me about it today and said, "Oh, everyone was pulling for you when you passed them," and I wasn't surprised. I was like, "Oh, really?" I figured they'd. Maybe I don't want to say they'd want Kyle over me, but I thought maybe they thought it was cool that we were just putting on a good race, but it was cool to have a lot of the crowd and a lot of the fans pulling for you, because it's neat to look around and see how many people are in this building.
Right. A lot of people look at you, mate. I don't think this way, but some people look at you as an underdog when you have to race a guy like Kyle Larson, right?
Yeah. No, I'd agree. I read some stuff. It's like, how do you consider him an underdog if, this and that? But I don't want to say that this is Kyle's house, but he won the last 2 years.
Right.
And of course he's going to be the favorite. The work's still not done, but I think we'll be good Saturday, and hopefully we can bring home a Driller.
All right, man. Congratulations. Good luck to you Saturday. We'll be pulling for you, like a lot of people in this building will. So thanks again for joining us here on Mostly Motorsports.
No, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. That was an interview that I did earlier this week with Buddy Kofoid, and I got to believe that Buddy Kofoid believes that he is capable of outrunning Kyle Larson. I think that if you listen to that conversation, he's full of confidence, and that it seems to be that after he beat Kyle Larson in that race for champions, he thinks that he can pull it off. Kirk, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it. And the confidence level is the biggest thing I look at with Buddy Kofoid. And why wouldn't he be confident with all he's pulled off here in the last 2 or 3 years? I mean, confidence is a big factor.
The last year, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. More importantly, the last year.
And as a race car driver, you won races. Confidence is a lot. Just having that in your being helps carry it to the next level.
Right. Well, we were hoping to have Lee Spencer on, but we're not going to be able to pull that off here today. We'll have Lee on Monday morning to talk about the final night of the. In fact, we'll talk to her about the entire week of the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals here at the Tulsa Expo Center. There's a lot of people that are considering a lot of different drivers as possible winners this week. I think me personally, I've been leaning on Justin Grant. I look at the speed that he shows in that car and what he showed last night. I know Ricky Stenhouse was giving him a challenge last night, but I still believe that if you go through 55 laps, Justin Grant is going to be the guy to beat besides Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson mentioned when he did an interview with Blake Anderson on Flow here about a week ago that he felt like if he didn't have the big screen, he wouldn't have been able to block Justin Grant to victory. And Kyle Larson said as much. He thought that Justin Grant would have won that race if he wouldn't have had the big monitor up there. And that brings up the big question, right? And we've been talking about it quite a bit this week. Do the drivers really want the big screen up there? And I'm telling you, the most popular drivers that race week in and week out here, or year in and year out here at the Chili Bowl, are starting to lean towards not having the big screen there. They feel that it's too big of a mechanism, or too big of a tool, and allows people to block. And I have to agree with them. I have to agree. I have to think that if you take the big screen down, maybe just use it for replays or a ticker during the race, but whatever you do, don't leave it up there to where a guy can use it as a spotter or a mirror or some sort of blocking mechanism. And I think that's what we need to do. I think that they need to change the angle of that board. And I think if they do, I think the racing will be better in the future.
We've had a variety of different opinions on that. I think the night that Bell was in the press conference, all those guys, yeah, turn it off. But it seems like every other night you get a little bit of indifference by it. I've seen it go from, I don't care, I can't watch it anyway, to, yeah, turn it off. It's a tool, and everybody's got an advantage of it. So there's a variety of opinions on this matter. To me, I say move it to the center of the building so it's not, so you can't look at it coming down the front straightaway as much. And if you just move it over towards the center of the building, I think that would alleviate a lot of the advantage that some people think they get off of it.
Put it in the middle of the track.
Yeah.
Hang it sideways. Nobody would be able to look at it that way. I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's pretty
just
simple
move it
fix.
to where you can't use it as a tool. I don't care where you put it. Just make it to where you can't see it. Change the angle of it a little bit down at the end of the straightaway.
Yep.
Whatever.
Not much I don't think you need to do much. Just readjust it a little bit. But the only reason we're even talking about it, because that screen has been up there at that position for years. And the only reason we're talking about it is Kyle Larson admitted how much that helped him win last year's race.
Right.
So it's been asked of every driver at every press conference this year of their opinions of it. And after listening to a whole week of press conferences, I'm thinking there's such a variety of opinions. Some people use it, but to me, you've got to be a really talented race car driver to be able to glance up at that screen and still pay attention to what you're doing.
As you can hear, racing is underway in the background here at the Tulsa Expo Center. They just started here about 9 o'clock, and it's going to be a long day of action, folks. And you can watch it all on Flow Racing all day long until MAV TV goes live tonight. Our good friends at Lucas Oil Productions will take over the broadcast tonight. They'll show you the C, the D, and the A, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch on. Our friends over at MAV TV and Lucas Oil Productions do such a fabulous job with their production. You'll enjoy what they do. I promise you. It'll be a good one.
So the Q's to the P mains to the O mains. That's where we're at right now. We'll never get as far as Z on the alphabet, I doubt. Or otherwise, if we ever got to the Z mains, we'd be starting racing at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
To get it all in. So anyway, it's a big day. You know, the other thing I like about Saturday is the opening ceremonies. They do the race of, they got the flags coming out of every state, and they did that at the shootout too, but I always kind of like that. Pretty cool. The delegations of each state carrying their flag in during the opening ceremonies, and then when they introduce the drivers, they shut the lights down. So they've got the pre-race pageantry before Saturday night's portion of the events down to a science here at the Chili Bowl. So they got great pre-race ceremonies here.
Yep. Well, it's going on right now, folks. I'm sitting here looking at it on my computer. The broadcast has started on Flow. In Flow, they probably boast that they're going to have 1,800 different broadcasts this year. Motorsports broadcast, racing events. Unbelievable. 1,800 racing events.
The real winner is the race fan.
For sure.
Who can buy an annual subscription from Flow Racing and get, 1,800 events. What better deal do you have for that? You know, when we were doing the monthly subscriptions, we couldn't
do
deliver
100.
that kind of content.
Right.
You know, the other thing that was kind of cool when we were doing the live video, we do this radio show, the first hour only, because we'd have to go to live coverage at 9, so we would give people a free dose of the races there in the 9 o'clock hour of this program, which that was kind of cool. Did that a couple of years ago. So,
yeah. Hey, Kirk, did you hear the news about Outlaw Motor Speedway closing down in Muskogee, Oklahoma?
yeah, in some ways I'm not real surprised about that. For some reason, that market down there has had a checkered past as far as successful racing operations.
Do tell why you say it had a checkered
there's
past.
two racetracks down in the Muskogee area, right? You got the Thunderbird Speedway and you got Outlaw Motor Speedway down there. But it seems like Outlaw Motor Speedway has been in different hands, and there was a period of time when it was down, then it was back open again. And I'm not sure why that is, but Muskogee
It's
hasn't
a great
been a
facility.
real.
I've been there more
It's
than
a
one
great
time.
facility, but it hasn't really been a hotbed of successful weekly racing operations.
Well,
in
it
that
should
area.
be, because it's right off the interstate. It should be a great facility, and I just don't. I can't get my head around it why that racetrack can't make it. To be honest with you.
Now, how far is that Salina High Banks from Muskogee area? It's not that far away. That's another track I suppose you could say is sort of in that area. But I know you've been to Salina High Banks for a while, but I haven't. I've only seen it once, and so that part of Oklahoma is
Kirk,
just kind of
that's-
different.
Those tracks are way apart.
How far is that?
312 miles.
From not Salina High Banks Speedway.
Salina, Kansas to Muskogee, Oklahoma, 312
No, I'm talking
miles.
about Salina High Banks Speedway.
Oh,
How far away is that? from
Salina,
Muskogee?
Oklahoma. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Salina, Oklahoma.
He brought up Salina Speedway, which is Salina, Kansas. Yeah, that's a long way.
57 miles.
57 miles. So that's maybe a little bit farther than I thought, but that's been as successful an operation in that area than any of them have been. Salina High Banks, it's kind of out in the country, real fast racetrack. But in the immediate Muskogee area, you had two racetracks, you have the Thunderbird Speedway and then the Outlaw Motor Speedway, and those two have kind of competed, knocked heads against each other there for a while. But I in a way, I'm not surprised that Salina, that Outlaw Motor Speedway shut down. I'm not shocked by that.
I am a little bit. So, anyway, a beautiful facility, got great amenities. It's just a nice place, man. I just can't believe that it's going to shut down.
Maybe somebody will come in after the fact and want to make a go of it. It sat idle before.
No,
in the
from
past.
what I've been told, what I've read anyway, that they're going to tear it down.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh my! Isn't that out in the country? Where is that? I've never been to.
It's just
Outlaw
right
Motor
off the
Speedway.
highway. I can't think what interstate that's off of, but I've been down there before, and pretty easy access to get to. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. You know what else? A little bit of news came out this week down here. Tim Carrick come by, and he said hi to us the other day. He told me he's going to be running a B-Mod down at Central Missouri Speedway.
Since they're not running A-Mods anymore, and Lakeside Speedway's not. I guess they are running A-Mods.
Yes,
this year.
they are. Yep.
Maybe it's because that he can still. Tim Carrick always liked running two racetracks, so maybe that just gives him a better shot at running two racetracks now. What do you think? And maybe he's not real convinced that A-Mods are for the long haul at Lakeside Speedway. You know, they may run them one more year, but how much longer are they going to run A-Mods at Lakeside?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Lakeside's modified count hadn't been, A-Mod modified count hadn't been the greatest over the years, but at the same time, they still get about 12 14, 15 cars. I mean, you could live with that if you need to, but you really want to have about 20 cars per class. And if you don't, then maybe you should take a look at it. I mean, listen, they've stayed with Grand Nationals there forever, right? And they got 6 or 8 cars at the most, ever. So I don't know. Just going to have to see.
Tim Carrick said the other night that he was the same age when his dad passed away back in 1994.
Lloyd Collins said he heard that the marijuana growers want to buy the land where Outlaw Motor Speedway is.
Really?
Yeah.
The marijuana growers?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
A lot of money in the marijuana now, bud. Just saying.
Well, it's surprising in this sense that a track out in the country like that
it's on an interstate,
Kurt. Yeah.
You've never been there.
I have never been to Outlaw Motor Speedway.
It's not out in the country. It's on an interstate.
But it's not right in town, though, is it?
It's just outside of town. Just outside of Muskogee. It's not far at all. It's really as close to town as could be, really, to be honest with you. It's not out in the country. As you said, out in the country.
You know more than I. I've never been there.
I've been there more than once. Yeah.
Well,
I can't think of the highway it's on. But,
right. To get back to Tim Carrick running a B-Mod now, I was going to ask you what the cost of building an A-Mod is enormous. We've talked about that in the past. So if a guy just wants to go out and put a competitive B-Mod on the racetrack, what is the difference in cost from doing that than building an A-Mod?
A B-Mod versus an A-Mod?
Right.
Oh, probably about 25 grand.
That's a pretty significant amount of money.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So there's still quite a difference between
I mean, listen, am I right about probably 20, 25 grand, wouldn't you think, Austin, between a B and an A-Mod? I mean, you look at the B-Mod motors, they're mostly crate motors, right? But everybody cheats up them crate motors. People that don't think they cheat the crate motors, well, they're a fool. Because the ones that run really, really good, those aren't factory. You know what they do? You know where they manipulate the motors on the crate side the most? The duration on the camshaft. Because they can't check that at the racetrack. They can check the lift, but they can't check the duration, from what I've been told. And from what I've been told, that's where they're making the gains on these motors. Now, listen, I had a crate motor at one time. I took it down to North Carolina. I'll just say it. I took it down to North Carolina, spent $4,000 on it, made 20 more horsepower. I don't know what they did to it. He didn't tell me. I just took it down to him, picked it up, brought it back. It ran better. That's all I can tell you. $4,000 it cost me.
And Tim Carrick is, he told me one time, we put him in the Carb Hall of Fame here a couple of years ago. He's going to never retire, He just wanted it took Gene Claxton into his, 70s before he decided to hang it up. So Tim Carrick's not planning on retiring, so I think he's at the stage of his career that, if he doesn't have to spend as much money as he did before and still know that he's going to have a car to race at a couple of different racetracks, I think that's what makes him happy right now.
Right. What race are we watching now online? What race is up there right now?
Is it the P Mains coming up? So we'll keep tabs on that.
Early morning here, folks, at the Expo Center. We rolled in here this morning. They opened up the doors at 7 o'clock so the teams could get in here and start working on the cars. If you got a race this early in the day, you're doing it for fun. Because, listen, there's no chance that you're going to work your way through the alphabet soup and get your way up through there like maybe like a J.J. Yaley did back in 2004. Probably the best example of working their way through the alphabet soup was J.J. Yaley.
That was
when he
fun
did that.
when he did
Oh
that.
my gosh, the fans went Looney Tunes over that. Yeah.
Now they're running hot laps with these races today too. So they start out with hot lap sessions for the Q and P mains, and then they run into the race. They intersperse the hot laps as the day goes on.
Right.
So that's the big difference between the Chili Bowl and the shootout. The shootout, you hot lap your car right from day one, but after that there's no hot laps. Here, you get to come out and hot lap your car every day,
right,
at the Chili Bowl. So that's what's going on right now. Is I think we're getting ready to really get into the racing action at this point after a couple of sessions of hot laps.
Well, the Rudine car has got some bad luck going out. It's being picked up on by a wrecker out on the racetrack right now. Again, you can watch everything that's going on live right now on Flow Racing. For $150 a year, folks, you can get 1,800 races. How about that? 1,800 races for $150. They do a decent job with their broadcast. Maybe not as good as the Racing Boys, but, they do a pretty good job.
Well, everybody's got an opinion on all that, I'm sure. But, it's been nice to have people come up to us and say, hey, we miss you guys down here. We love when you guys did it.
Right.
So that makes us feel good when we hear that.
Yeah, I think that we did a good job assembling our team that we've had for all these years down here. Most of the talent that you see on the air right now is talent that we hired over the years. You see Scotty Cook, Chris Wilner, Connor Wade, all these people we've hired. You think about the cameramen that we've hired, Jeff Christensen, Dean Mills, Jeff Converse. We hired those guys as well. Now, Flo did bring in a few of their extra guys and let them do their broadcast as well. But for the most part, you're seeing pretty much what we've done over the years. And I'm pretty proud of the guys that we assembled. I sit there and I look at everybody and I think, oh man, we hired those guys. We took a chance. Clinton Boyles, he's a great example. Clinton Boyles had never done a race before, and we brought him up there to, I think it was Sweet Springs, and did a broadcast for us the first time. And then he did that, and then he came down, he did the Chili Bowl, and he's done the shootout. And he's turned into a really great analyst, Clint Boyles has.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He comes up with insight. And as a race fan, I really appreciate that because I've never driven any of these cars. There's a lot I don't know. But when an analyst can provide information that you just don't know, that's doing your job. And Clinton Boyles does that all the time. When he did the shootout here this couple of weeks ago, he just continues to provide this information and insight that is really interesting and beneficial to the race fans that, never driven a car or even fielded a car. But, hey, wasn't that cool to see Jeff Gordon in the booth last night?
Oh, man, that was really cool.
That was quite, and Sunshine, Tyler Courtney was in there, so that little break interview during the break in the action last night was very interesting.
Well, that was mostly Caleb Hart and Brian Ward in there.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
And then later I saw Sunshine standing in there too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
I never noticed Sunshine standing in there, but I did notice Jeff Gordon, Caleb Hart, and Brian Ward in there, and it looked like they were having a good time.
Yeah.
And in fact, it looked like Jeff Gordon was having a good time.
He was.
It wasn't his standard Fox broadcast that he was doing.
Jeff Gordon, there's a lot of years he didn't come to the Chili Bowl.
Right.
He was immersed in his NASCAR career, and he was focused in on that. Jeff Gordon was the kind of guy, I got to focus in on this one thing, and that's all I'm doing. But now that he's been out of the race car, was an analyst on Fox for several years, and now he's the guy over at Hendrick Motorsports.
Right.
He's going to be the main man. But you just saw a side of Jeff Gordon that we didn't see for a lot of years last night.
Right.
Talking about his passion for dirt racing, and of course, Kyle Larson, and he's going to be rooting for him. But you could just kind of tell how the love of this form of racing that he grew up in how it's back for Jeff Gordon. You're going to see him around the Chili Bowl, Knoxville, and a lot of these tracks a lot more often.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with his driver that they have over there at Hendrick Motorsports, with Kyle Larson being going to a lot of these races. I think that Jeff Gordon's just going to hop in the plane and go with him to some of them.
Yeah.
You know?
And anybody that drove for Rick Hendrick in the past, you wouldn't see, their big high-dollar driver going out and running all these dirt races. Now they embrace it, which is kind of a good thing. It's good for the race fan.
Well, it seems like it's good for NASCAR, too, because
good for everybody.
As we've talked about many times, Kirk, that we see a resurgence of the grassroots community starting to go back to the NASCAR races now. You see people, you go to the races, you see a lot of people wearing their dirt shirt and, kind of enjoying dirt racing as well as stock car racing. And I think a lot of that has to do with Christopher Bell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson. I think those guys kind of appreciate what the teams appreciate what it's doing for their skill set. I think the skill set, if you look at the drivers that are going out and running these dirt cars, they seem like they're a little bit better than maybe the guys that don't go out and do it. You look at Kyle Larson, he's so wheel sharp and so on top of his game so much from going out there running all these dirt cars, having all this success. And that success has to kind of bleed over a little bit, I would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about it. And don't you feel the driver loyalty coming back a little bit for these NASCAR drivers? It seemed like for 10 or 15 years we'd lost that driver loyalty from the race fan, and we're seeing that come back now. And the grandstands are filling up more so than they had been because of that. And that's really the key to successful series and successful track operations. You got to have your race fans with that loyalty to their driver. They've got to be fans of drivers to want to come to the racetrack. And I felt that for about 10 or 15 years there in NASCAR, we lost a lot of that, where a lot of the drivers didn't have that loyal fan base that used to come out and support Earnhardt and Gordon and Rusty Wallace and guys like that.
Well, let's face it, Kirk, during the Brian France years, a lot of NASCAR fans got turned off because of what they tried to do with the COT. They tried to put that funky spoiler on the back of the car. They didn't look like cup cars. And I think that was a big turnoff to a lot of the fans. And to be honest with you, let's face it, NASCAR kind of died when Dale Earnhardt died a little bit.
Yeah. After he passed away, he became this mythical figure after death that kind of carried the day for a number of years, and that began to wane around 2008 when the economy started to go bad. They had a downturn in the economy and people started staying home. They got out of the habit of going to the races, and that all happened. But as far as the drivers are concerned, I felt that a lot of the relatability people had with the race car drivers was lost because they had these $1 million coaches. They flew in on their own jet aircraft. They became rock stars and kind of separated from the fan base there for a period of time. And now I feel like, we're starting to get some of that connectivity back between the driver and the race fan, which is a good thing.
I think Kyle Larson is the biggest reason.
Yes, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He's driven that. So you can see it at the track. When he runs a cup race, the noise out of the grandstand is bigger than you used to see at a lot of these race winners in NASCAR.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Major fence repair going on right now. Had a big accident down there in turn 1 and 2. Brian Ward is down there. I can see Matt Ward in there trying to give him a little bit of advice on how to fix this fence. That was a major rip of the fence. I don't know if you guys are looking at it or not, but man, they really tore down a lot of fence. This is going to take some time.
I'm not looking at it right now. What part of the fence?
Down in 1 and 2, and it's going to take a while to get this fence buttoned back up. It is completely destroyed, ripped down probably about 10, 12 feet of it, and it looks like they're going to bring in some new fence and tie it up there. to repair the fence that has been torn down. So it's not looking good right now.
They've got a lot of practice building the fence here at the Expo Center.
Oh, boy.
That's not the first time that a fence has been ripped out here.
Won't be the last before the day
So
either.
they'll get it patched up. Some guy got up into the fence the other night and got that car wadded in the fence. Took a little bit of time to get the car out. You see that the other night?
No, I didn't.
I mean, I forgot who it was, got really entangled in there, and it took quite a while just to get the car loose from it.
You remember who that was, Austin? No? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no, the fence repair down here it doesn't take much to rip the fence. Listen, they do a great job. The fence, okay, I'm going to say it. The fence here is much better than it is at Gateway. Just saying. They've got it tall enough. They got a lot of cables in it. We never see cars get over the top of the fence here.
No.
And with the exception of maybe T-Mac that one time down there in turn 3.
That still goes down as the scariest, most frightening crash I've ever seen. When you have an axle brake on that car and it went flipping way outside the racetrack and almost hit there's kind of a scaffolding down there that people stand on. It came close to hitting that thing that year.
Lloyd says he thinks that Speedway's out in the country, Outlaw Speedway. But listen, Lloyd, it's right on 69 highway, right? I mean, it's right off the highway. You can see it from the highway. So is it out in the country when a highway runs right next to it? I don't think so. I get it. It's right outside that little town. I get that. But when a major interstate runs right by your racetrack, does that mean it's out in the country? I don't think so.
Which interstate is that goes through Muskogee, Oklahoma? Is that 69 highway?
69.
Yeah. I've been by there, but I've never been to the racetrack. The only time I went to Salina High Banks, went there just take a look at it. I've never seen a race at that track either.
Well, one time, Dieter and I were there, and we were selling T-shirts. And I needed to go in and get some water because we didn't have any water. It was really hot that day. And Scotty says, jump in the car, we'll run in, we'll get Dieter some water, bring it back to her. Well, while we were gone, a storm rolled in. And the next thing you know, our T-shirt racks were blowing over. The door on the side of the trailer was jumping up and down. And Dieter was all by herself, had to tend to it by herself. And we got back, and it was all over. And Dieter was soaked.
Just that quick.
She wasn't so happy with us.
You've been on a couple of scary incidents out on the road. I remember one time you had to dodge a tornado. You took shelter in some kind of a car wash or something somewhere down in
Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo, Texas. That's it.
Yeah.
Fun on the road.
We've seen a lot of bad weather along the road over the years, and that's just part of traveling. But I'm looking forward to doing a little more traveling this year. I'm gonna try to get out to the local tracks a little bit more. You know me, I like the open wheel racing, so I'm gonna try to hit as much of that as I can. Most likely, I'm gonna end up keeping the motorhome for now.
Take it up Knoxville, park it for the summer.
Well, no, I think I'd rather leave it parked at the house. That way, if I need it, I don't have to go to Knoxville to get it.
Okay.
Right. I'll just drive it to Knoxville if I want to go up there, right? Just go up there and spend the night. Just pull the golf cart up there.
Yeah, race boys pay for the fuel. It's all good.
Right.
Now, I'm going to go to more races, too, this year, since we don't have the live video that we're going to be doing so much of this year. So you're going to see me out at the racetrack a lot more here this year than I have been the last couple of years.
What track do you think you go to the most, Kurt? Knoxville,
Lucas Oil Speedway.
Kirk, now listen, you're going to live up in Iowa. You're going to drive all the way to Lucas Oil Speedway?
Well, I haven't moved to Iowa yet. It's going to be...
I bet you end up going back to Adams County and going to Knoxville. Those would be your tracks.
Those are my two racetracks. So probably Knoxville more than Adams County, I would say.
Because you're more of an open wheel guy now, aren't you?
But I've still got a full summer here in the Kansas City area. So I'm still going to go to tracks that are closer to Kansas City at least till next fall, till maybe be 2023 by the time I get up into the Iowa area where I'm going to Knoxville more.
Yeah.
So I still got another several months here in the Kansas City
Are you going to
area.
be my traveling pit reporter?
Now you're asking me to work again.
Well, what else you going to do?
Watch the races.
Well,
Hang
yeah,
out.
but can't you talk about them?
I can't. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to come on your show, Mostly Motorsports, when you'll have me.
Yeah.
You ask me to come on, I'll come on.
Well, I'd like to have you on there more often than not.
That's good. You just say when, brother.
Yeah.
I'm there.
We're going to need you from time to time. It wouldn't be the same if I couldn't argue with you on the air.
Oh, we'll still do that. We're
Yeah.
not going to quit doing that.
Right.
Now,
All right, Kirk. We're in the final 5 minutes of the show here. Let's start talking about who we think's going to win.
Well, my pick from around Thanksgiving time, right around the time that all the midgets were out there in California, Turkey Night and all that, I've been on Justin Grant from that time. I said
You and me both.
Back over Thanksgiving weekend, I said the king of Friday night is going to win on Friday night, and then he's going to back it up on Saturday night. I said that then. Damian Gardner did that in 2008. By the way, he's here this weekend. We've seen the Demon running this weekend. But if you remember, the Demon won on Friday night and backed up on Saturday night. That's what I'm saying that Justin Grant is going to do. He's my guy.
Austin, who do you think's going to win, buddy? You want to come over and just say in this microphone real quick? Come over and talk to me real quick. Just set your microphone down.
It's all running on autopilot. It's all good.
Right.
It's fine. It's still on.
So, Austin, out of all the teams you've seen this week, who do you think is the guy to beat?
Well, after watching all 5 nights, I got to say probably Grant. But I made the call last Saturday on Track Talk about Larson. He might have not had the speed, the first night on his qualifying night, but don't ever count out Paul Silva and Kyle Larson. So I'm going to stick with Larson. It's a long race,
It's
and
a long
lot
race.
can happen. So, you look at the past winners of this race. It's all back-to-back winners
Is
for a long time.
Is Buddy Kofoid even in your thought process?
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, he did run Turkey Night, which was 98 laps, and I think he won that race. No,
Right.
CV won it.
Yep.
But he was in contention for it. But I mean, this is a little bit different than Turkey Night, so I don't think he's ready to win one just yet.
You don't think he's capable of winning yet?
I think one more year.
And you say that because you think that the 55 laps could be too intense for him, and maybe he'll implode or have a bad lap or something might happen?
Well, you have to be almost perfect every lap here to
Right.
be good.
Yeah.
You messed up one time. Look at Chase Randall. You messed up one time on the cushion and, cost him a chance at winning or locking in the show. So,
Right, that's
I mean,
true.
Buddy's good. Buddy can, string together a lot of good races, and I think I might be wrong, but, you never know what the Expo can, hold for you.
Dare I say, I'm going to root for Justin Grant to win, but I also think that Buddy Kofoid can win as well.
Oh, absolutely. This might be the first time the whole time we've been doing this. You and I have agreed on the race winner. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Oh, I don't know. We probably have agreed before, I would think, for sure. I think we have.
I don't remember it.
Well,
But, when Kyle Larson, when the big money is on the line, when the big trophy is on the line, he's at the point in his career now
Well, he is the
where
best.
it's hard to bet against him.
he
I
is
know
hard
that.
to bet against. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this race plays out tonight. And I think a lot of it will have to do with where everybody starts, and we don't know that yet because these pole shuffle races still got to be run. But how big of a difference is that going to? Do you really want to be on the front row of this race? I don't know.
Lloyd said that, Kirk, you can go with Lloyd and go to some MLRA races around.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll check out some
He
MLRA.
said they're up in Iowa quite a bit this year.
Absolutely, I'll
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
You're on, Lloyd.
All right. Well, Lloyd won't invite me, so He can sleep in your motorhome, Lloyd. So
I thought he slept at hotels while he was on those which I didn't know.
Not that I know of.
Anyway.
All right, well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show today, and everybody that's watched Mostly Motorsports this week. We had some pretty good numbers. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Also want to thank the drivers that took the time to give us some sound bites. Justin Grant, Ricky Stenhouse, Zeb Weiss, Tanner Carrick, Buddy Kofoid, Rico Abreu, Christopher Bell. Did we have some CJ Leary too? Didn't we have some?
We didn't have CJ. I didn't get CJ's soundbite. This is only midget race. He runs the whole year.
I know
CJ Leary.
I know it.
So
yeah,
he's doing good.
All right. Well, that's it for us, folks. We're going to tear down all of our gear and enjoy some racing today down here at the Expo Center. We hope that you tune in. Check it out on Flow Racing. And then tonight at 7:30, if you have MAV TV, tune it on, or turn it on, I should say, and you'll be able to watch it tonight on MAV TV. They do a great production, our friends over there at Lucas Oil Productions. For Kirk Elliott, for Austin O'Neill, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us here on Track Talk. We'll see you Monday morning at 11 a.m., Mostly Motorsports, with myself, Scott Traylor, and we hope that you'll join us then. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable